was a man, a good, decent Christian man. Like every other man, Christian or not, this man thirsted for respect. Private questions plagued him. Am I worth notice? Do I matter? He longed to be known, respected, and wanted. His thirst was real and deep. But he was afraid. Were he to be fully seen by another, he was convinced he would experience well-deserved shame. Yet he yearned for the impossible, to be fully known by someone who would draw near to him and never back away. But why dream the impossible dream? Better to hide from others behind a false front, an appearance of strength, confidence, perhaps compassion and concern for others. Anything to relieve the emptiness of unquenched thirst and intolerable ache. And if that failed to provide the desired relief, porn reliably worked. Was he sexually addicted? The possibility assaulted his conscience, but relief from this ache seemed necessary and therefore justified. Living in the emptiness and exhaustion of unsatisfied desire could not be endured. There was a woman, a kind, competent Christian woman. Like every other woman, Christian or not, this woman thirsted for notice. Private questions plagued her. Could I be seen and still desired? Do I have value for who I am? She longed to be appreciated. Her thirst was real and very deep, but she was afraid to be fully seen. Would another's discerning glance into her depths reveal a beauty in her being, a beauty that mattered, that would be desired by another? If she were to be fully visible to another, would he simply move away? And she couldn't stop wanting the impossible, but dreaming this impossible dream risked the emptiness of aloneness. Better to hide from others behind friendly sociability, charm, professional achievement, anything to numb the painful void of unsatisfied longing. Perhaps an intentional display of sexuality could provide a convincing semblance of true satisfaction. But would she stoop to cheapening herself that way? It would nearly destroy whatever was left of her self-esteem. Perhaps she had no other option. This emptiness and exhaustion could not be endured. Out of nowhere, both a man and woman heard a voice. It seemed a voice from heaven. You may continue to fight against the ache in your heart and the thirst in your soul, experiencing them both as unendurable, and you will then embrace and yield to temptation that numbs your ache and relieves your thirst. But I want you to know this: I will never love you less. But continue on the road you're now traveling that delivers only the illusion of life, and your soul will shrink, corrupted by the evil of self-centeredness that curves you away from others and toward yourself. To become the person you're most thirsty to be, a teller of the larger story that I scripted in eternity past and am now unwrapping in this present fallen world, you must be willing now to wait. Only then will you experience the sufficient power to fight your addiction to claiming now what I promised only for later. Yielding to addictive urges does no more than mask your ache and narcoticize your thirst. The struggle is real. You will fail. But joy, the joy of loving grace, is on the horizon. The sun is rising. The man heard the voice, hung his head in shame as he resigned himself to inevitable failure, then turned a deaf ear to what he had heard. Whatever was required to satisfy that thirst seemed somehow legitimate, a necessity to living without an aching heart and an unquenched thirst. He refused to live thirsty. Waiting made no sense. The woman heard the same voice, hung her head in brokenness and repentance, then with a taste of freedom, surrendered to the hope stirred by the voice, and with eyes wide open, no longer assuming she was entitled to a life on earth with neither a throbbing ache nor an unsatisfied desire, she responded to the call to live thirsty. Waiting made perfect sense. Joy was available as she tasted God to be present in her darkness. She could then envision addiction to relief losing its power as she waited for the eternal day of perfect rest.